Now we should be good. At least I hope. We'll find out in a second. I'm gonna refresh my Twitch page just to be sure. Alright, let me check my quality. Okay. So, it does look a little fuzzy. It's not great. Well, we're going to live with it for now. Hello, everyone. This is Chris Ingerson, and it is September 12th. And this is the September 12th TextQuest Devstream. So, today, a couple of quick things. What I just changed, because I forgot to do that before the start of the stream. I'm going to try streaming in 720p, lowering the bit rate a little bit. So hopefully people with slower internet connections can have an easier time watching the stream. Since I'm not a Twitch partner or anything like that, I don't have access to multiple video quality settings basically, so it's either source or nothing. So I'm gonna, for the time being, downsample to 720p when I'm recording this stuff. It's a little frustrating, but you know we're gonna live with it, I guess. I could potentially record these things while I stream, but I don't know how large that would be, especially for something like a 3-hour 1020 or 1080p stream. That seems like it would be quite large file-wise. I don't know. We'll try it at 720p tonight. If things look too fuzzy, then I will have to come up with another solution, I suppose. At any rate, so today we are going to be continuing our work on doors and locks, specifically door lock interactions. Although I guess it's technically more of a generic lock object interaction. But let's go ahead and take our key. So currently we have a door set up here in the shed, and it has a sub object that's called a lock. Well, it will be. I just downloaded the JSON to set all that stuff up. So we can currently open door with key, and that will actually open the door. It'll unlock it, then it will open the door, and then trigger whatever animation it has. We still have some pretty funky blend probes going on here, so I do find it funny that it gets lighter the farther in it goes, which makes no sense, but we'll live with it for now. So what we're going to try to do today is basically finish up how locks and their locked objects interact with one another, because that will allow people to either individually unlock a door, or unlock the lock on the door, or unlock the lock on a chest. Basically, it just opens up an extra object whenever you're interacting with a locked object, which would be the lock itself. In any case, let's go ahead and stop playing, and I'm going to grab that JSON that I just made. Download this. And I suppose it would probably be important to put it next to our door information. Alright, so let's go to downloads, and it was called Shed Lock. There we go. So we're just going to put this... Oh, interesting. Oh, okay, never mind. I thought it was in the archive for a second. I'm like, that's not right. That seems incorrect to me. Alright. So let's go ahead and pop this on here. So what I'm planning on doing with the lock, to sort of hash out the ideas I've been thinking about, locks will largely act as additional content. So you'll never explicitly have to interact with a lock, but you can if you want. And the reason that I'm adding that is because there have been a few people in the past who have tried to, say, like, pick the lock and or unlock the lock itself without saying like unlock door. And I would like to allow for that interaction, but I don't want to just have the door be referred to as a lock. So I don't want you to, if you're interacting with a door, I don't want you to be able to just say like open lock and it understands you mean the door. Or rather, it interprets that as you meaning the door. That doesn't really make sense to me. So I want it to be a separate object that you can interact with when you're interacting with the door. But aside from that, I'm not going to worry about separate 3D models at this point, because I don't think it really needs it, for one. I was considering having that be a thing in case I want to really do that, and that really won't be a problem, because So if I want to add that support in the future, it's not going to be much of a problem because the lock itself will most likely always be a child of the door. So as long as I have as long as I allow doors to basically know where their lock is, and I allow locks to know where their locked object is, um, then they'll always be able to affect one another without any problems. So you can unlock a lock, then open the door it's attached to, or open the chest that it's attached to. Whatever needs to be opened. Um, in any case, let's go ahead and before I parse this out, I actually want to set up some stuff. So let's see, we're going to do an override here. So we're going to say override from JSON. So we'll do base.fromJSON, and then we're going to say JSON object lock JSON is equal to JSON.getObject, and then it's going to take a string, which we're going to have to go to custom, or not custom. We've been doing that too long. Interactive object utility. Oops. There we go. Oh, and I probably should make sure that my Twitch is not muted. Oops. There we go. Okay, making sure. Okay, so torch door. I'm gonna add one below that for lock or lock. So public const string lock underscore ID, or I guess data, and then we'll just call it lock ID. It's equal to locked ID. We might end up changing that name. So I added an extra sheet to our object called lock, and right now it only has the one field, but I'm keeping it in a separate sheet for organizational purposes. Like, I don't want to lump it in with door. That wouldn't make sense. So even though it's only one field, it's going to be in its own sheet for now. And it'll work. It's just I'm not sure if I'm ever going to expand on this sheet, so we might only ever have one in it, which would be kind of weird, but All right. So we need to go back to interactive lock, and we're going to say interactive object utility dot lock ID. All right, and then we're going to say, oh, I also did that completely wrong. Whoops. Let's see. Public const string info lock. This is what I should have passed in there. So info underscore lock. There we are. And then inside that, we're just going to say this dot lock ID, I think is what it's called. If I could spell, is equal to lock JSON dot get. Oh, I'm sorry. It's a little bit longer than that, isn't it? It's collection manager. There we go. So collection manager. My cat is climbing down my shoulder for some reason. All right, cat. Collection manager dot find, then data ID. Then we're going to pass it a name. We're going to say lock JSON dot get string value, then interactive object utility dot lock underscore ID. Sweet. So that should set all that up. So let's go ahead and let that compile. And what we'll see is when we refresh or update this lock, we should see this change to say shed unlocked, I believe. And then all of our verbs should populate as well as any adjectives and plural names. Let's go ahead and update. So locks, adjectives are rusty, old, and metal. Burn info, it can't burn. Let's see, so everything's in there. That's interesting. Did it not find it? I'm going to clear that. I'm going to try updating again. Huh. That's interesting. Does it just not? Oh, it's because it's got the underscore. Shed unlocked. Fine. So we're also going to modify the door real quick. So this is something that we looked at a little bit on Thursday last week. We found out that for some unknown reason, I have these data IDs in the door script, but we're not using them. And in some way, I can see why that would make sense. So if we go up to our shed door, although this one actually doesn't have it yet, what I've been doing is basically, let's see if I can find it. Yeah, right here. So in our open and close verbs, I've been manually specifying an output data ID that we set, but it probably does just make more sense for me to have this information here. Because it's always going to be the same. You're never going to open the door and then close the door and have different IDs be affected. Same with the locked ID. You're never going to have a door be locked with one ID and then unlocked when another, like a different ID is set. That's not how it works. So I think we're going to actually basically we're not going to ignore any of the data IDs in our verbs. They can fire whatever they want, but when we unlock or lock the door or open and close the door, we're going to use these two IDs. So we're going to make that change real quick. So right now, if we just look for this, we'd see final references. We see that it's assigned to, but we are not doing anything besides that. So we need to actually use it. So let's go down here to where are you? Hold on. And that's interesting. I thought I had this in here. Do I not? Final references. Yeah. Oh, okay. I just overlooked it. Right? Or am I crazy? Oh, that's why. It's because I was looking at the open stuff. Although we do need to account for that. So give me a second here. I'll put verb is equal to okay. Locked is equal to false. We're gonna get rid of you, and I believe we're gonna want to say unlock object. And that should be fine. All right. So let's come down here. And for unlock object, we are also going to go ahead and say if door, actually, I guess it's called data ID, isn't it? Yeah. Well, not for locking, actually. So we're going to say if locked ID does not equal data ID dot none, then we will say session dot set bool locked ID, then true. So if the locked ID is set to true, that means it's unlocked, which is a little counterintuitive. I probably should rename it to unlocked ID. And if it's false, then it's locked. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and also move this to our locked object, set this to false. All right. And let's see. In open, we are going to do pretty much the same thing. So we're going to say if verb.output ID does not equal null and verb.output data ID dot none. All right. Well, no, we're going to do this. So in open, we're going to go ahead and say if data ID, come on, data ID does not equal data ID dot none. Okay, come on, uppercase. Data ID dot none. Session dot set bool data ID. We are just going to rename that data ID class or field. It's incredibly annoying. Data ID is set to true. Cat, I get it. You want attention. All right. So we're going to do the same thing, but in reverse for close. So let's go ahead and come here. Say false. right, and we're also going to go ahead and rename this to, well, let's go to definition first. And while we're at it, I suppose I should probably go to door inspector. Right, so we're going to have to change this. So let's go ahead and rename those fields. So we're going to rename data ID to, I can't call it open ID, which is a very annoying thing. Actually, you know what? Let's keep it like that for now. And let's go ahead and rename open ID to open nim ID. Which actually, this one might be totally useless. Okay, I guess not. I guess it's being used to determine if it's open. That's fair. Although I don't know if that's super great. Not great. Not great at all. Actually, that's fine for now. I think I'm going to have to eventually change that, though. Because right now what it's doing is it's looking at the actual animator for the door and saying, are you open? Or is this animator parameter set to true? And that might not always be what I want it to do. I assume it, I mean, it's fine for the 3D stuff, but when we start trying to port some of this stuff over to custom game interactions, that won't work because animation modules won't really be a thing. So that's not great, but that's not really a focus for tonight, so I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to call this open ID. Rename this to unlocked ID. And now we can change our inspector stuff. So let's rename you to, no, well, we can't do that yet. Let's rename you to open nim ID, then rename this to, open ID, and rename this to unlocked ID. All right, so let's see, we have unlocked ID, open ID, and then open nim ID. All right, so we'll let that compile. That is going to blow away some of our existing doors and their setup, but that fortunately won't take us too long to fix, so I'm not too worried about it. All right, once that compiles, we can see that this is not set up, so I'll have to refresh this. Go ahead and clear that, hit update. No problems. Oh, right. I keep forgetting that this has underscores. Oh, that's interesting. It still says locked ID. That makes me think that I did this the incorrect way. Let's see. Oh, well, there we go. That's kind of funny. I wonder if I can just do this. Unlocked ID dot, not tooltip, but display name, is that correct? Yeah. So I think I can do this. So this is going to be mopenID display name. Display name is just basically the serialized name that Unity puts for or creates for your field in the inspector. So for example, OpenID in the actual door script is, lowercase o, uppercase I, no spaces, but in the editor or in the inspector, it's going to be uppercase O and then open and then space ID. So that's just the string that Unity displays there. I'm going to get rid of some of this other content because we don't really need these GUI contents if we're not going to use them. So I'm actually going to do a couple of things. So that shows you how old this script is. It's before I started tooltipping things. So let's see, audio point. Let's go ahead and say tooltip. Put that in. Then we can get rid of this GUI content altogether, which makes it a lot easier to play or to manage. Tooltip. Then tooltip. Get rid of you. Get you copied in. Get rid of you. just in. Ta-da! Minimal amount of effort. And now everything should display nicely. The other reason I'm keeping this GUI content is because I know that my data IDs don't use tooltips. I can't. There are some problems with how Unity handles tooltips. It's incredibly hard to retrieve them if you have a custom attribute over the field. I don't know why. Unity knows that it's a bug, or they just haven't fixed it, or whatever. But for some reason, it's annoyingly difficult to do so. Let's see. So I'm going to just go ahead and get rid of that, and we should be good. So we'll let that compile. And then we should actually see all that change. Shazam! Ta-da! There it was. OpenID and unlocked ID. Oh, that's infuriating. It still doesn't let me do a tooltip. Ha! Even though I made one. That's really annoying. Because the other ones will work, you can see here. Man, that's infuriating. Ah, well, whatever. It's fine for now. Alright, so now we need to actually handle our interactions. So let me think. Do I want to go a little nuts with editor inspector stuff? Because I totally could. No, that might be a little pointless. So I was thinking of maybe setting up basically a field for a lock, and then essentially we could serialize part of the information from the lock into the door itself. But I think that would be, I mean, it would be a fun exercise, and we could do it, but it would not serve much purpose, really. All of this information is per object anyway, so cross serialization between the two wouldn't really do much for us. So let's go ahead and save this. All right. So now we're going to take a look at door and interactive lock. And oh wait, hold on. Actually, don't I have a field for a lock right now? No, it's only the sub object, which is fine. No, there it is, door lock. I knew it. I knew I had something for a lock. I guess that's the question. Should I tell locked objects about their lock? I have to, don't I? Duh. Because otherwise I couldn't unlock the lock. Well, that's not true. Okay, let me think. I don't want to do this. No. Well, no, all of that can be done through the lock. Okay. Then, yes. All right. I think I know what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to find all references here. So we're going to get rid of the door lock field, because we're going to do what I was talking about at the beginning of the stream, which is basically the door lock is supplemental, which means that the door won't even know about its lock. It won't even care about its lock, actually. It will just look at the well, it won't look at anything, really. The door will just be a door. It'll be locked if it needs to be locked. It'll be unlocked if it wants to be unlocked. It'll be open or shut or whatever it needs, and all of that will be isolated. And that's because the lock... I lied. That can't work, can it? No? Yes, it can. Okay. So basically what the lock is going to do is it's just going to kind of like wrap itself around whatever locked object it needs to, whether that's a door or a chest or whatever. And essentially what will happen is if you unlock the lock specifically, then the lock will unlock the door. If you unlock the door, then the lock will be listening for that, at which point it will become unlocked itself. So essentially, we're not really adding any base functionality to the door class or to the container class, because all of this content will be more or less automatically done. So we can actually get rid of this entire door lock thing. So then we're going to have to get rid of the squiggle. So get rid of you. Why is interactions.link +1? That seems a little odd. Oh, that's why. Okay. Because of this. And let's go ahead and get rid of you. And we're going to get rid of you. All right. So that all works. And I think what we're going to do for iLockable is we're just going to get rid of the lock. We don't really care about, we don't really need it. Because again, the lock will still need an iLockable reference, but iLockable does not need a reference to its lock necessarily. Because, well, iLockable just means that it can be locked, not that it will be locked. So let's go ahead and get rid of that. Got a couple of lines left. Okay, there we go. All right, so we do need to have an event, which that's going to be interesting, actually. I've never... I don't think interfaces can have events, right? Surely not. Let's find out. Well, no, I don't think it can, but we'll try it. Event. What do I want to call it? Well, we'll first say void lockable event. Hold on. God, I guess that'd be delegate void. Can I do delegate voids? I don't think so. Yeah, they can't declare types. Okay, that complicates things. How am I going to listen for it then? So I can unlock and lock the object, but I can't. So the problem is that I have to have a base event that I can listen for. Otherwise, this will not work. I suppose I can try to do a Unity event. So using Unity events. Okay, Unity engine events. I think that's right. Yeah, Unity event, and we don't need it to be. We don't need it to pass anything. I don't think. We'll just have it be a void event. And there's a cat playing with her toy. Okay, and we're gonna call this. I guess unlock event. Well, we'll call it lock and unlock event. Or how about onlock? Onlock. Oh, really? Oh, sorry. Duh. That's going to be a get set, I believe. It's been a while since I've used the Unity event stuff. Unity event on unlock get set. Let me think. Where else am I using this in the project? No references, because I know I am doing so. Here we are. Crud. Seriously? Well, okay, that might not be too bad. Okay. I don't think I need to derive from it. At least I hope not. So let's see here. Can I just do Unity event? Surely I can, right? Surely I can. So we're kind of going to do what, how buttons handle their events, where they have a what's called a Unity event, which is like a weird event listener that Unity set up. It's a little slower than actual C# delegates, but if it's not a field, that means I can actually use it in an interface. So I'll try to make this work. All right, let me think. So it's basically going to be like this, which would also include that, which is not great, but what are you going to do? All right, so we're going to come up here, and let's try to set that up. So we're going to say public Unity event. Right, I'm going to have to do that. So using Unity engine dot events. Say public Unity event, then on lock get set. And actually, while I'm here, am I correct in? Yeah, okay. So they were get sets. That's good. I thought they were, but it's been a while. So, and before we do that, we're gonna need to go to, I suppose, protected. Is that what I want? Private seems fine. So private Unity event on lock. Do I need to do anything to initialize it? I guess not. I can say it's a new Unity event. I can just do that. Then we're going to serialize this field. Well, I would, except it won't let me attribute it. Serialize field. All right. We're going to go ahead and duplicate both of these things. Okay, fine. And we're going to say on unlock. All right, so let's go ahead and remove these things. So instead of get set here, we're just going to say get return on lock, then set on lock is equal to value. Okay, then public Unity event. I'm really hoping that this isn't an abstract thing that's working in code, but when I go over to Unity, it's going to complain. We'll see. So Unity event on unlock, get return on unlock, then set on unlock is equal to value. All right, don't have any squiggles anymore. So we should be able to let that compile and see if we get any errors. I'm hopeful that we don't. Although there might be... No, it seems fine. All right, so let's go ahead and on our interactive lock. So on, I'm going to say start, probably. So let's go override start. Okay. Private void start. We're going to do a couple of things. Let's see. All the public stuff. All right. So we're going to say private void on object on object locked. Then private void on object unlocked. Should I say object or target? All right, we'll just say object. And then we're going to say, what do I call it? Target object? Locked object. Locked object, yep. Locked object, geez, right, that. There it is, capital L. Locked object dot on lock dot add listener on object locked. All right, then locked object dot on unlock dot add listener on object unlocked. All right, let's save that. And what else do we need to do here? I guess on object locked we'll call lock. On object unlocked we'll call unlock. There we go. Okay. So let me see. I suppose that means that we're going to say session.lock, I'm sorry, not locked, dot set bool lock ID is equal to false. And we'll do the whole if lock ID does not equal data ID dot none, just to make sure that our data ID, oops, not is, if. Just to make sure that our data ID is not none, because there's no point in setting a value of none. It's going to be true. All right. That's really all I care about. Although, okay. No. We have. Oh, geez. That's so not good. So, so when you unlock the lock, it should also unlock its locked object, but we need to make sure that we don't get stuck in an infinite loop of calling unlock on each other. So that means that I actually need to pass a bool here. So we're going to have bool unlock object, bool unlock object, and we're going to say false here. All right. And what this unlock object will mean is if it's true, we will also unlock our target object. Otherwise, we won't. It's as simple as that. So now we should not get in a loop. So we're going to say if unlock object, lock object or locked object dot. I always forget I got to use the capital. Locked object. Come on, capital L. There we go. Dot lock object. All right. And same thing here. So unlock object. Cool. So now we should automatically listen for that event to fire. And let's go back to our door real quick. We have to fire that actual event. Although let me make sure that I'm doing this correctly. I think it's on click or on unlock dot invoke, I believe. Yeah. Dot invoke. All right. So let's go ahead and where's my door? There's my door. So we want to go to our lock function, lock, which is down near the bottom. Of course it is. Lock object, here we are. And we're just going to say on lock dot invoke. Okay, simple as that. And then on unlock dot invoke. All right. So let's take a look at our lock. It is an interactive lock. That's good. Everything's set up. So what we should be able to see now is when we unlock the door, the lock should also unlock, and vice versa. I am going to put in some debugs to make sure that we can see that. So we're going to say debug.log, locking, and then we'll just say plus name. All right, and let's go ahead and copy this over. Not locking, but unlocking name. Cool. Let's go to our iLockable class. And actually, before I forget, because I know I just added this new syntax. Output. I added a new keyword to my output syntax that will replace the keyword lower name with the object's lowercase name. Because currently I have something called object name as a keyword, and that will replace the object's actual name, but it has capitalization, which looks odd when it's in the middle of a sentence. So, output results, here we are. So you can see this going on here. But I believe in interactive object utility, we should have a format. Where are you? Format output. There we are. Which is not super great, admittedly. Peek at this. Let's go ahead and so we're gonna say object. We'll say lower name. We'll say object name lower. Then lower name. Lower name. Okay, simple as that. And where are you being used? So it looks like it's partially used. I'm gonna have to. Yeah, it's fine. Although I think what I'm going to do here is say string builder final output equals new string builder. Oops, not string builder. String builder. And then from output. And I actually don't remember. Does final output have the dot replace? It does. Good. So we're just going to start doing that. So let's do that. Do that. Get rid of this. Get rid of this. We'll also go ahead and copy and paste. Say keyword underscore object name lower. Not super happy about that. Find all references here. It's in the verb. Where are you coming from? Is that being passed in? No, I legitimately just don't. What? Jeez, that's annoying. Okay. You know what? For the time being, I'm just gonna say object name dot to lower. I'm not crazy about doing that because I wanted to cache all that, but what are you gonna do? All right. So let's go ahead and before returning output, I gotta say final output, don't I? That would have been pointless. Final output dot to string. Cool. So I made it a string builder just because that will keep our garbage generation down a little bit. Every time what I was doing before is every time I made an adjustment to the string, I was regenerating an entire new string. And that was bad. So now it's a string builder. Hooray! Efficiency. Hello, Gelmega. Welcome back. How are you doing today? Or I guess tonight. Or I guess for you this morning. All right. So we should. Oh wait, no, I almost forgot. Let's go to interactive lock, and we're going to put in little debugs here. So we're going to say debug.log, lock unlocking, and yeah, that's probably good enough for now. So debug.log, lock unlocking. To locking. And currently we won't be able to lock the door through the lock itself because we need to set up some special logic to handle when unlock is called. So we're not there yet, but we should be able to check if unlocking our door does unlock our lock. Excuse me. Had to sneeze. Working on a hash table, and not morning, night, at 1:45 a.m. I count that as morning, I suppose. Although I typically actually group my days from 6 a.m. to 6 a.m. instead of midnight to midnight, just because I feel like that's a cleaner break for a lot of people. So I guess for me that means that my days start in the late morning and end in the early morning. In any case, well, hopefully you're having fun with hash tables because I've never really liked hash tables. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and say, what I'm gonna, oh crap, right, I forgot to do that for my lock. Wait, no, what? Hold on. I was worried about that. Right. Um, yeah, so you can't do this locked object as iLockable. Instead, you have to say locked object dot get component. Oh, it's a freaking. Right. We're gonna make some quick changes to our interface field. Let's see. Do I want it to be? Yeah, it probably should be. All right. So we're gonna say interface field drawer. So I'm actually going to convert this to a component. And then we'll be able to store it a little bit easier. I guess I could make it an object field, but still have it be a component, but it's fine. Okay. So, jeez. Can I do, I think I can. Yeah, this is going to be fun. All right. Yeah. So I lied. I'm going to do this instead. I'm going to keep it as object for now. And instead, we're going to come down here as game object. So we have to do a double cast, which is not super great. Dot get component I lockable. Oh, actually, we can't do it that way. We have to do type of I lockable. Because if we do it the other way, Unity does not grab it. And then we have to cast it as I lockable. Okay, that should do it. Using them is not really a problem. Implementing them is a bit more annoying. Yeah. Install installed what? Gorse? A couple of days ago? I've not heard of that. What is that? Let's go ahead and clear this out. Let's try playing again, seeing if we get errors. I'm going to be very unhappy if we do. Go ahead and pause and haha! There we go. So that worked. Yeah, it's really annoying, like I said. Like I said last week, interfaces are really annoying in Unity. They're very useful, obviously, from the programming side, but good God, Unity just does not want you to be allowed to use them. So we're going to say open with key. That's interesting. Okay, then how about unlock? Great, so I broke something. What is going on here? I am deeply confused. What is happening? What on earth is happening? Do I need to... All this stuff is set up, right? Verbs, unlock, output, item checks, required items. Oh, interesting. You're busted. So let's try setting that up. Key rusty. Shed unlocked. Okay. And is the same thing true for open? No. All right, let's try that again. Maybe it was just weird. That's just such a really weird, like I don't that pronouncing that word is super difficult because I want to pronounce it as like gorse, but that doesn't seem correct. In any case, let's try this again. So take open with key. Okay. So we have, sweet, both of them unlocked. That's good. Although I don't like that our door did not play its animation, because of course it didn't. Come back up here. It is open. That should be correct. Interesting. Something else must be going on here. Wait, I think I might know the change that we made. Maybe? That would be weird. No, that doesn't make sense. I wonder if I should... Well, hold on. Let's check what our animation... Here we go. Open identity. Where are you being used? You are not, apparently. Okay. It's all great. A visual representation of repo pushes. And if you push your code to a repo, I'd recommend downloading it once and looking at it. It's very nice to see the progress you make. Huh. That's pretty cool, actually. So, what in the world is happening today? Let's take a look at our model. Is there anything weird going on in our listening animation? No, it should be firing, but I don't think it is for some reason, which is kind of odd. Okay. Interesting. Let's go ahead and go to our... Oh, we know that it fell through to the open. Huh. Then what happened here? So I typed open with key, which should have unlocked the door and then gone to the open part of it, which is, let's see. So it's not locked on the second time. Parser, output, verb output. We're all good there. And then everything should fall through to output result. And we should get a success. But it doesn't seem to actually be pushing to the animation. So let's go to our listening animation module. And I'm going to debug the value that it's listening to. So let's see here. On data updated. Can I debug you real quick? So there we are. So it's going to be a bool that we're listening for. So we're just going to say debug.log listener.dataid.name and then session.getBool listener listener.dataid.name. All right, and then we're just going to do a string format. Do all that stuff. All right, so I'm going to say 0-1. Cool. So now I should be able to see if our session is just getting the wrong value set, maybe? That's all I can think of. Don't know what else it would be. Not entirely sure why it wouldn't work right now, though. I didn't flip these, did I? Shed unlocked and shed open. Yeah, no, that's correct. All right, then. Let's go ahead and try this again. See what it comes out as. All right. So take open with key. So did we get anything? That's interesting. Nothing, huh? Does that mean that our model thinks that its module is... Oh, that could be bad. Let's debug this. Does it think its owner is the lock? No, it's the door. Okay. But why didn't you fire then? Like, nothing fired there. What the heck? Okay. Go ahead and stop playing. Let's go to normal value. Huh. So nothing happened there. That's interesting. Let's go ahead and move this down. .id.name is equal to ID. Okay, let's check that. That should at least force it to happen, I would think. Not entirely sure why we're actually even running into this problem. Well, at any rate, trying to think what was going on today as far as stuff in the industry. Oh yeah, Apple unveiled their new phone today, didn't they? Sorry, I need something to talk about while we wait for things to compile and while we run repetitive tests. Yeah, their new... Well, they revealed 2 new phones, actually. Key. Is there, like, nothing happening? Seriously? Come on! I don't believe you. How is nothing happening here? Let me see. Hold on. Target style. On data updated. Go to definition. So, yes, it should friggin' happen here. More so here. So I'm not going to do listener.dataID. Instead, I'm going to say, well, okay, let's move this down one more. I'm going to say ID, I suppose. And then we'll just pass ID here as well. Okay, so now we should definitely get something out of my logs. But yeah, was it iPhone 8 and iPhone X is what they called it, I think. And they unveiled their brand new, never before seen wireless charging technology, which is totally a thing that exists. Although it was pretty amusing trying to see them spin it as like a brand new feature. That's something that's never been done before. It was really impressive, actually. Alright, let's try this again. Take, open with key. Did we get anything? Okay, I'm going to murder someone and maybe a blood sacrifice will help with this. What is going on here? Nothing is happening? Ah, there it is. Duh. It's returning. Interesting. Okay. Let me think. If it has a data ID of none, then it just does nothing. Ah. But is that actually... Oh, I see. That complicates things. So that's why we switched over to that. That's infuriating. There's no way for me to get that. Let me think. How to test this? So the goal here is that it should listen for specific verbs. Well, in that case, we can simplify things. That makes it very annoying, though. We can simplify things by removing the unlocked and, well, no, that would not. It only needs to happen on open. Let me think. How do we want to handle this? So I could make a new listening module that essentially does the same thing, but instead of trying to get the output ID from the verb, I could get the output ID specifically from, well, no, that doesn't make sense, because that restricts it to opening and closing, whereas this is a much more open format. Crud. Okay. Well, that means that I have to change this a little bit. So instead of using open ID here, I'm going to have to get the ID from the open verb and use that. Not ideal, but that's how it's going to be. So a minute of it on stream, talking about their creatively named Super Retina display with an extremely weird resolution. Right, that is 6.2 inches, and then yeah. Yeah, Apple has always been super weird about like their Retina technology, which just means that it's got an incredibly ridiculous amount of density to its pixels. I think it's something like 300 dpi, but it's actually a fairly low resolution compared to something like a lot of Android phones. But they get away with it because the DPI is insane. The point is that you can't see the pixels, which is true, I suppose. In any case, so yeah, we're gonna have to change this. So let me think. There's nothing I can do besides that. I'm just going to have to live with it, won't I? Fair enough. Then that makes it worthless, essentially, which is annoying, but we're gonna have to deal with it. Jeez. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Okay. So let's go ahead and get rid of this. Then we're gonna go all the way up here. We're gonna go to our OpenID, find all references, and we're just gonna get rid of it because it's kind of useless at this point. The door itself doesn't really do anything with the OpenID, funny enough, because it's all handled by the animation or listening animation module. So yeah, and the actual setting of the values is handled by the verbs themselves. So we can get rid of everything. All right. Do we even need you anymore, actually? Nope, we don't. All right. I'm just going to get rid of it. And let's go to our listening animation module. We'll go ahead and get rid of this because we know what the problem is now. And we're also going to go to our door inspector, get rid of, where are you? Property field, target spawn point, open an MID. There we are. Get rid of you. Go up here. Get rid of OpenID and get rid of OpenID. There we go. Oh, I missed one. Oh. Oh. Really? I guess that kind of makes sense, but not really necessary. So I was doing like a context check there, but that was probably because I was expecting to use that field. But we're not anymore. So, all right, we're actually going to go ahead and update that information in shed door. So let's go to verbs, open and close. So this is going to be shed open, and then true and false. Let's go ahead and export this information. And we'll hit export. Let's grab our door. Let's come up here to shed door. Show and explore. Download this. Also heard them say, finally an OLED display fit for an iPhone. But there's an OLED display great enough for the S8. It's totally for an iPhone. Oh well. Yeah, I mean, you gotta remember, like, it was actually, so when I was watching the presentation today, this was like in the past, I had joked about how culty Apple is, but this was like the first time where I was legitimately getting really creepy cult vibes from them because they kept saying things like, "We think Steve would be proud." And I'm like, "Oh God, if I didn't know who Steve Jobs were, I would assume you were talking about like your god named Steve." It was really weird, especially since he's been dead for a long time now. Like I get trying to live up to one of the founders of the company's expectations, but it's a little weird. Um, so that was kind of my takeaway from the whole thing today. In any case, let's go ahead and say show in folder. Doors here, shed door JSON, replace. All right, come back here, and we're gonna update. So let's clear console. Let's hit update. Right. Of course, unlocked ID was still wrong because I was stupid. I should have updated that as well. In any case, let's come back down here to open. Key rusty. That's interesting. Was it? Whatever. Shed unlocked. Open, open, open. Output ID shed open. Cool. So now we should see it actually animate. Although I might have actually just accidentally done that because of course I did. Toggle you open and close. There you go. Let's see. Plus the billions of overpriced cables. Yeah. Let's see. We're going to say... Oh, I need to grab my key first, don't I? Take. So I'm going to say open with key. There we go. Alright. And we now have the lock unlocking, so we're going to set up the lock to be capable of unlocking its target object as well. So let's go ahead and close these. We don't really need them open. Also, Apple has just wireless charging. Samsung has a base station that charges your phone wirelessly, but it also makes it able to be used as an Android computer. What do you mean by that? Used as an Android computer? Because I mean, technically, all smartphones are just computers. That just and yeah, so the whole headphone jack thing, like I understand that it's stupid, but at the same time, I can understand why they would get rid of it, because a headphone jack is, well, it's a standardized size, which means that as long as you have a headphone jack, you cannot be thinner than that. And my assumption was they wanted to make a thinner phone. And I mean, phones are already super thin, but people always want them to be smaller. So by getting rid of the phone jack and making it Lightning or Thunderbolt, or Lightning Bolt, I forget which it is now because they've had both, I think. Then that would allow them to make the phone thinner. And the wireless charging means that it actually addresses that issue of you can't charge your phone and listen to your music at the same time. But I'm not trying to justify Apple or anything like that. I'm just saying, like, I can understand the desire to get rid of the phone jack. And the reason I say that is because look at it within the historical context of, that's a thing. Interesting. Yeah, I didn't actually know that this was a thing that Samsung did. I mean, that's pretty cool, but it also is... It seems like it would have limited use. I'm not entirely sure why you would use your phone for a computer, unless that was your only computer. But I'm not saying it's not a bad idea. It's just one I wouldn't have thought of. Headphone jack is 3.5 millimeters. If that isn't see, but that's the thing. I wasn't saying that the headphone jack was like super meaty or anything like that. It's just that if you want to go smaller than 3.5 millimeters, you can't have a headphone jack. So again, not trying to justify anything. I'm just saying, like, I can understand the desire for it. And if you look at it within historical context, this isn't the first time that Apple did something that a lot of people said was stupid, but I guess ultimately proved them right somehow. Because if you remember back when the iPhone came out, they did not support Flash, and they still don't, obviously. Um, and a lot of people said that was a stupid idea because Flash was so ubiquitous at the time, but it was a stance that was a respectable ideological stance. It was because Steve Jobs thought that Flash was terrible, and to be fair, it kind of was. It was a resource hog, and it was terrible. Um, and because of that, it ended up driving Flash to extinction. Now, I'm not going to say that Flash's extinction is totally because of the iPhone, but I'm willing to bet that it was probably sped up by a couple of years, because eventually we now live in this, society where we all want plug-inless internet. We want everything to run natively in our browsers without having to hunt down, the Shockwave or I guess just Flash plugin for your browser. So it's a move that seems stupid on the surface, and I agree too. It's really dumb, but I'm also willing to say that maybe in the long term they can come up with a more creative solution for it. Maybe, who knows? Again, I'm not trying to defend Apple here because they don't need my defense, and sometimes they make stupid decisions. Actually, quite often they make stupid decisions, and like you said, all of their stuff is overpriced and underperformant. In any case, let's go ahead and start coding for locks. So let's see, we're going to get rid of door inspector, get rid of iLockable, get rid of you, and get rid of you. Okay, so we need to look at our door. So it's a little annoying because we're going to have to kind of copy a lot of the door code over to handle things like insert key and open with key and all that crap. So let's go ahead and go up here. We're going to paste that into our interactive lock. Flash drove itself to extinction because of the security flaws. Without Apple, it would still have happened that fast. See, I don't know about that. Java is still a thing. And Java's terrible. It has a bunch of most security breaches are through Java. But people still use it. And like I said, I'm not saying that just like Apple deciding not to have Flash on the iPhone is what caused Flash's extinction. That's not what I'm saying, and I think that would be a stupid position to take. But I do think that it definitely hastened its destruction. Java is too widely used. Yeah, it's not that it's too widely used, it's that businesses use it. Because Java it's kind of going the way of Flash. Like the only reason that it's still relevant is because businesses use it. And because it's got like a legacy code base of 20 some years, or actually, when was Java made? Is it really 2 decades? It might be. It might not be full 2 decades. It's really old. Yeah, and I mean JavaScript again is one of those early standards that got in, but all of that is changing, at least on the surface, because you're getting things like Node.js and WebAssembly and all that stuff. So who knows? I assume JavaScript will always be around because the ease of use for the web is like a key point for web development, but it's hard to say how much of it will be people using JavaScript versus how much of it will be people using WebAssembly or other web technologies, I suppose. Who knows? Maybe Flash will come back. No, not really, but that would be really funny. All right. Oh, dang it! We also have to do that, don't we? Yeah, that's fine. Okay. So we're going to say case verb type dot open and enter. So we're going to get rid of, this is in our lock class, we're going to get rid of open and enter as their own distinct things, because those should basically, well, maybe not enter, but open and unlock should essentially function as the same thing. So when you say open this lock, you mean to unlock it. So we can probably get rid of this. because they'll now go to the same thing. Same thing with close and exit. We don't really need those. So it is locked. TypeScript to JavaScript superset by Microsoft, which is leaps better, plus Flash support will officially end in 2020. Yeah, Adobe announced the whole sunsetting of Flash, which is, despite the fact that I don't really heavily use it, it's kind of sad to see it go, just because of how much of it was used in my past as a kid. Like it's, I still remember all those cheesy Flash games, those like really cheaply made ones, but they were still cool, you know. And it's just kind of a little programmer emotional to see something like that go. Okay, so I'm gonna have to use link here. Yay! I haven't had to pull that in a while. So using system.link. And let's go ahead and so crap. Yeah, we're not gonna worry about that. God, I was thinking, no, combination locks, but I am not going to try and do that right now. I will make a new script for that probably if I have to do that. So we're not gonna worry about that. So get rid of this chunk of code. Unlock. And wait, what? Oh, right. We'll say true. Okay. So I think we can do this. Let's see. So we're going to try to unlock the door through the lock and see if that works. So we should be able to unlock lock and then open door. And that should work. Yeah, the TypeScript stuff, I've never really used. Like, I've glanced at it, but I didn't see much use in really getting into it because base JavaScript is more ubiquitous across the internet. All right, let's go ahead and play this. Okay, so we're going to say take unlock lock key. Damn it. Oh, okay. I need to do that backwards. Let's rename this to is unlocked. Let's find all references. So we're going to say if is unlocked. Let's come back down here. And if is unlocked, or not is unlocked. We're going to go up here to lock, and we're going to say is unlocked is equal to false, and is unlocked is equal to true. I guess we'll go ahead and actually move these up to the top here. Okay. Get rid of you. Move this up. Paste that in. All right. Let's try that again. Okay, found the iPhone's resolution 2436 by 1125. The person who decided on that should be fired. I don't know. To be fair, the S8. So what are those aspect ratios? Because the S8, if I remember, is something stupid like 18.5 by 9, which is just weird. It's not a standard like 16 by 9 or 16 by 10 resolution. It's almost 1:2, which is really weird. I'm not saying that's bad. I guess it's weird when developing for S8s. Okay. Is that the new iPhone PPI? Is that right? Because we're using it. Well, we're using an S8 at work, right? Pretty sure that the company I'm working at is testing mobile on an S8. Pretty sure, And its resolution is classified as 18.5 by 9, not 16 by 9. But maybe I'm thinking of a different phone. Maybe it's the Gal. Well, no. I thought it was the S8. I don't know. I'll have to check on that tomorrow at work. Take. Okay. So unlock. Lock with key. Open door. Yes! Sweet. So we can unlock locks specifically, which will also unlock the door or object they're associated with. Let's try unlocking the door, then trying to unlock the lock again to see if it'll give us the correct information there. It's the S8. Not sure how they did it. Probably rectangular pixels. Oh. Oh. No. No way. It has to be square pixels. No one uses rectangular pixels anymore. That's a CRT thing. Like, that's tubes. That's tube technology. I actually hated doing non-square pixels. Unlock door with key. Unlock lock. Shite. That's not what I was hoping. There we go. Yeah, see that seems more correct. So this is weird. Is it not unlocked? Is unlocked is equal to true. If is unlocked, the output name is already unlocked. Then why is it asking? Hold on. Why would you do that? Okay, so I'm gonna unlock the door and then I'm gonna look at the lock to make sure that it did actually set things. It's weird. It should. You're getting the call that says that it did. And the S8 has a PPI of 530. Okay. But yeah, I mean, I thought that it did have a super wide resolution. Which is kind of actually getting pretty funny at this point. Like, we're having 4K phones, and I'm just like, it's so tiny. You can't notice that detail. There's a limit. There's a limit to what you can perceive. There actually, and I'm not just making that up. There's actually there's a algorithm for this. Like, for every, I don't remember what it is. You have to, however far away you are, indicates how many pixels you need to have on the device to make it look, I'm just going to say broad strokes, nice. And the smaller the device, the closer you can get to it, if it has a high resolution or high DPI. Again, though, like, at those scales, there's not really much benefit between the two of them. Like, I don't know what stream, like, watching a video that's not, because most videos on YouTube are going to be something like 1080p, which both of those are larger than. So that means you're going to get scaling, or letterboxing, and it's just not going to work really super well. Oh, interesting. Why did that happen? Let's go to the door here. Interactions. Has it just been showing this the entire time and I didn't notice it? I thought I fixed that. All right. In any case, we're going to say unlock door with key. Unlocked. Good. Let's go back to so it says lock unlocking. Let's go to our lock and we're going to debug to make sure. So is unlocked is true. Then we're going to say unlock lock. You shouldn't even get that far, though. So this is a little odd. Let's go ahead and do a debug.log1 and then debug.log2 here. Because that output makes me think that it's falling through here. Alternatively, verb is equal to open. No, we're doing just regular roll unlocks. Let me think here. What do I need to do about this? That doesn't make sense. Let's go to base.check for required items. I think that's the problem, is it's getting caught here. But why is the annoying part? Is my door doing something extra to its verb.required items.remove? Right there, huh? Interesting. I see. That's actually interesting. That actually highlights a flaw in the way I handle this. I don't think that it stores that interaction information between scene loads. So if you unlock a door and then you go to a different scene and then come back and unlock it, instead of saying the door is already unlocked, it's going to say, what would you like to unlock the door with? That's not, it's not the end of the world, but it really shouldn't do that. It should just say that it's already unlocked. So, crap. Ugh. Does that mean that I'm going to have to, trim required items? Oh, geez, that would be a nightmare. Okay. High resolution of the S8 is useful when using it with Gear VR. Oh, that's true. Gear VR. So yeah, I guess that will be where higher resolutions will go for the future. Is you want to have higher and higher resolutions, so you can have individual high resolutions per eye in VR. Which actually, I'm kind of surprised that Apple hasn't announced a VR setup yet. They have AR, and they do have a very impressive AR setup, but I'm surprised they don't have a VR solution yet. You'd think that they would want to get on that. And I know that they've bought companies that are involved in VR, so that's interesting. But so verb not required. How do I want to do this? Yeah, this is actually a problem. So I need a massive to do here, because I'm not entirely sure what a good solution for this would be. This only removes the verb required item until a scene transition. So I'm not doing anything in start to solve this, am I? No. Interesting. Then yeah, that's somewhat problematic, isn't it? Well, no. Well, it is, but I think I can also come up with a temporary solution, but I don't know if that's a good idea. So the solution that I'm thinking of right now, that would be like a patchwork solution, would be to on start, check if the door is unlocked, and if it is, then remove any required items for the unlock verb. But that doesn't really. That's not a great solution. I'm not really super enthusiastic about that. Let me think. It would work. And I can't really think of a better solution. Because it's not like these objects are stored in memory. so they're not saved or anything. They can just get reloaded. So I kind of have to do that. It just sucks that that's what I have to do. All right. Um, then we'll have to do that. Not looking forward to this. So let's go ahead and come down here to start. We'll try this out and see if it works. So we're going to say if, dang it, session dot get bool verbs dot, I'm sorry, no, get verb type dot, oh, actually, no, I don't have to do that here. I can just say unlock ID, and we're just going to do this. Get verb type dot unlock that requires items. Oh boy, this is not super great. So let me do this real quick. Verb is equal to you, and verb dot required items, blah 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 blah. So let's see if that works. In theory, what should happen is when we transition back, the shed door should be open and unlocked, and we should be able to interact with it as expected. So this is a little bit of a side thing. It's not our main door lock interaction stuff, but it's kind of important, and it's going to be useful to know. I suppose before I do anything else, I should make sure that my where are you? Triggers, scene transitions, canyon, canyon planes, player tag. Yeah, should be fine. So with that resolution, I can easily see the pixels. Okay, so in the last 45 minutes, I did nothing. Oh no, overloading and operating correctly. Okay, I'm gonna need to do fixing. You haven't done nothing. We've discussed the ramifications of Apple and its stances on technology. Oh, and we have an error. It's a course review. Right. Right. Okay. Should I just remove all info then? For int I is equal to 0, I is less than verb dot required items dot count I plus plus verb dot remove, oh no, dot required items dot remove. I guess I could just clear it, couldn't I? Yeah, let's just do that then. Verb dot required items dot clear. Let's just see if that does it. It's bad business practices. Doing nothing for 45 minutes or overloading an operator incorrectly? Because I could see the arguments for both. Or the merits, I suppose. Alright, so let's try this again. Oh. Oh, okay. Apple. Sorry, you used IT apostrophe S, so I thought you meant it is bad business practices, not possessive it's. All right, so we're gonna say unlock with key, and we're gonna open. We're gonna leave this area and then come back, and we're going to just go to the canyon real quick. Because I also want to see if this transition will work. It should work, but you never know. God friggin'. Seriously? Hold on. Okay, we're going to go to File, Build Settings. Is it just disabled? It's just disabled. Okay. Let's go ahead and save. I am not entirely sure why that didn't work, but okay. I mean, I wouldn't worry about it. Lots of people make that mistake. It's just when you're communicating through text, it's very difficult for me to infer that meaning properly. Open with key. Okay. So now we're going to run off to the canyon real quick. Well, technically, when you say second language, it doesn't literally mean your second language. It just means that it is a language secondary to your primary language. So even if you learned English like fifth, it would still be a second language. Wow. There's the textures. Okay. Oh, what is going on there? Sorry, my waterfall looks really weird. Huh. Oh, it's because the light isn't baked in the scene, right? It's all real-time lighting. So let's try this transition back. Did it work? It did! Although you're weird. Oh god. It's giving me a headache. Oh, it's because it's not baked. Okay. I was gonna say, why are you not... Okay, I mean, the door was open. That's good. That's not. I was worried about that. So the door is locked. Which is weird. Why are you still locked? Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Locked. Let's run JSON. Reset object. Unlock. Interesting. Set door locked should not be something that's used anymore. Does that mean that my lock on my doors was just not... Jeez, what is wrong with my door scripts? It's like they were thrown together, which is admittedly what they were, but we're learning some valuable stuff about it, actually. So we're going to go ahead and say unlock object here. And then I guess that's all we care about for now. So let's go ahead and save that. And while we're in here, so at least we know that the open and close stuff is persisting, but oh geez, yeah, it's gonna do all that. It's gotta rebake all the substances. Blah. No, I mean that's a fair thing to say. Colloquialisms are always the hardest thing about a language. They don't make sense, really. Okay, are you just not wanting to... Whoa, okay, hold on. Planes, let's go to our shed. I can, I believe, force... There we go. So I can force that generation. All right, let's go ahead and in my planes here, I need to grab all of my materials again. So do I have extra materials? I'm going to grab this. We are using dirt and grass, so I can just get rid of you. Oh, wait. Crap. No, I need those because they're part of the... That's why they are included. So, all right. So now everything should be in there. So shed miscellaneous. Yep. Cool. So now those colors should... or those textures should actually generate when we come back from the canyon. And it should also now unlock the door when we come back from the canyon. So that should persist. Okay, so let's do take open with door, or open with key, sorry. All right, so let's try running off. I'm just happy my school didn't give German too, or would have to learn 4 languages. What was the school requirement, that you take every language that it teaches? I actually wish that I had taken some German, but I was more interested in Japanese, but German would probably be the next one I would want to learn. We're going to go back. That's a really weird curriculum. You have to take all of the courses in foreign languages that they have. That's kind of odd. Open. Door's already open. Sweet. Cool. So now that persists. Okay. Then that means that we need to set up our unlock function to essentially get rid of all of the required items for unlocking, and I suppose locking. But okay, so that's actually that is actually not too bad. That means we're just going to do this. So we're going to come up here to unlock object, go to definition. We're just going to go ahead and paste this in. Let's go ahead and get rid of these because we know that those work. You know, honestly, I feel like I don't even need the lock verb because the player's not ever really going to lock anything. But I'm keeping it in there just in case. I just know it sucks because I never really do anything with it, and I don't plan on doing anything with it. Alright, so we're going to also copy this, and we're going to paste this into interactive locks unlock as well. So we're going to do that. And that should also make it behave as expected. Everything else should be fine. And oh geez, I don't know which one would fire first. I guess we'll find out. I'm a little worried that there might be situations where the door, well, no, that's fine. Where the lock initializes before the door, and therefore, no. It would be the door initializes before the lock, then fires its events before the lock listens to the door. I don't think that will happen, but it might be a thing. So that wouldn't be great. In any case, also, dang it, I keep forgetting to do this. I keep meaning to do all that, but I always forget. I always forget to put up what I'm working on. I don't know. I need to expand my avatar functionality. I'm planning on eventually adding some nice features and some Twitch integrations, but that means I have to do Twitch integrations first. Alright, so we're going to say open with key, then unlock lock. Well, you didn't do what you were supposed to do. Now did you? Lock unlocking. It's probably because well, no, that doesn't make sense. Hold on. Let's go to our plain shed, door, lock, verbs, unlock, output, required items. Okay, so yeah, it's because I got a copy of the information there. Is that right? That doesn't seem right. Okay, hold on. Let's go to interactive object. Go all the way up here. Do verb. Check verb. Alright, so yeah, I'm getting a direct reference to the verb here and then passing it through. That's fair. That is fair. suppose. Yeah. Okay. So that's the main reason there. Wait, does that mean that I get a copy of the verb when I do get verb? That must mean that, right? Yeah. Although I can probably actually move this to a for loop. I've been trying to cut out system.link for a while. I is equal to 0, I is less, because I know it generates more garbage than regular for loops. So I've been trying to replace that old code whenever I see it. So verbs count I plus plus. Belgium is also a small group where school is compulsory until 18. Well, you got to get your bare bones education stuff. It's kind of important. If verbs of I dot verb is equal to verb type, return verbs of I, else we'll return null. Okay. So why on earth? Oh, right. Because again, we're not iterating in the original version. Get verbs returns a copy. Fine. Then that means I'm just going to do this. Public void set verb. And then verb. And we're just going to say for int I equals 0. I is less than verbs dot count I plus plus. If verbs of I dot verb is equal to verb dot verb is equal to verb. Okay, simple as that. Oh, I'm sorry, I did that wrong. Verbs of I is equal to verb. Okay, so we're gonna go to door here, and then we're gonna say set verb. Super simple as that. Let's go ahead and compress this down. Grab this. Go back to interactive lock. Scroll down, and we're gonna do that. Okay, so that should make it actually change its outputs. Well, not really related, but we also have compulsory voting. Seriously? Oh, what was there? There's a robot chicken sketch, I believe. I don't remember who it was with. It was with I want to say it was a rap group, and it was Vote or Die was the sketch, and it was just like them going around watching people not vote and then killing them if they don't vote. It was actually really, really funny. And they just kept singing Vote or Die. Okay, so we're going to save that. Let's try that out again. So you get like fined if you don't vote? So that's pretty much the go-to measure for governments. When you don't do something, they just fine you and then move on. Alright, so we're gonna let that go. Now, and actually, no, before I do anything else, I'm gonna try unlocking and opening the door as well. So unlock, open, door's already open. Let's try unlock, lock. Frack! Really? What is going on there? It doesn't make sense. Why wouldn't you? Okay. That's super weird. Okay. Let's try opening the door, leaving and coming back and seeing if we can then unlock the door, if it'll still say that. I think it will, but I'm curious as to why my lock isn't doing that. I'm also actually, while we're here, I'm going to just keep this pulled up so that we can see it. If it flickers or something, then something else is setting it back. So we're going to say open with, not open with key. Doesn't flicker. Ah, I bet I know what it is. Yep, there it is. It's that stupid thing again. We're going to get rid of them. Because I do not care about this. I believe I kept it as a holdover in case I ever needed to reset objects, but at this point they're more annoying than anything else. So let's find all references. Okay. Find all references. 0. We are getting rid of it then. Find all references. Okay, I think we're good. Excuse me. I had to sneeze again. First time, 25 to 50 euros. Second time, 50 to 125. And if you don't vote 4 times in 15 years, you can't vote for 10 years. That's a weird, like, Willy Wonka punishment. It's like, fine, you don't want to vote. How would you like not voting for 10 years? Also, for the last one, not authorized to apply for any appointment or promotion in the civil service. Dang, voting is serious business there. Like, that's the exact opposite of the problem we have over here. In America, a lot of times people are like, no, don't vote. It's pointless. Actually, that's not true. There are a lot of voter activist groups, activism groups. But you also have a lot of laws that are put into effect to make voting harder, which I'm pretty sure has to do with voter suppression and racism. But what are you gonna do? It's politics. Voter turnout is mostly 90s. Well, that's exactly like the U.S. If you flip that, so voter stay out is mostly 90%. I think it's actually very rare for us to hit. God, like in a off year, like one that's not like a major federal election, I would not be surprised if our voter turnout was like less than 20%. So let's go ahead and say open with key. And we're going to just run off and see. Actually, no, nope. Before we do that, we're going to try unlocking the lock here. I think that will have fixed our problem. So we're going to say unlock lock. Sweet! Lock lock. Can't do that. That's fine. Open lock. Cool. So let's leave, then come back, make sure that that all works still. And I'll be pretty happy if that's the case. All right. Gotta let our textures write. Start. All right, so doors from an old shed. Let's try close door. All right, so that works. Let's try unlock lock. Really? You didn't work, huh? That's interesting. That means that what I was afraid of happened, I think. So let's go ahead and stop playing. we're going to go to interactive lock, and just here in start, I'm going to say if session.getBool unlock, I guess lock ID. Then we're going to say unlock false. We're not going to unlock our object. All right. So I think that was our problem, is that we just the door was doing what I was afraid would happen, where it fired all of its events before the lock could properly bind itself to it, and that just made it not work. So this should hopefully function still. Well, not still. This should function properly now. Also, in Belgium, we are great at having too complicated a government with 6 governments, each as powerful as the other. Could be 7. Is that like a province thing, where each province has its own government? Is there not like a centralized federal one? Open with key. Okay. Off to the canyon. I'm actually not entirely up to date on a lot of European countries' governments, how they're laid out. I know cursory overviews of things like the UK, where the UK is 4 separate countries, technically. Well, not technically, actually. We just tend to group them together. Okay, so let's try this again. So we're going to say unlock lock. Sweet, there we go. Then we're going to say, oh, you know what? I'm also going to try this. I'm going to see what happens. Ah, I knew it! I knew it! I knew it would happen like this. Well, at least I couldn't move. I wonder if I can wiggle, though. Okay. So I can't really move, which I guess is for the best, but yeah, I knew it would be possible to shut yourself in there. I don't know what to do about that. Besides maybe trying to add like a slope or something. So if we try to open. I mean, maybe I could do like a angle or something here. No, I want to keep it flat. But I guess I could have like a triangle outcropping or something. That would be so weird. It just seemed out of place. Okay, that's not great. Well, that's a question that I need to solve. Actually, the problem with doors is like, if I have a door that can open or close in such a way that will shove you out of bounds, I don't really have good solutions for those, because I can't, unless I add things like invisible colliders that get turned on while the open and close animation is playing. I can't really do anything. And this is why 9 times out of 10, when you have a game with doors, the doors are canned animations that you do. So that this exact problem is not a thing. Or they're placed in such a way where you couldn't get shoved out of bounds. Yeah, I'm not really sure what a good solution would be here. I'll have to think on that one. Heading out. All right. Well, thanks for stopping by, Jelmega. I will see you later. Let's see. Oh, and federal government, 3 governments for the 3 regions, Flanders, Wallonia, and Brussels, capital region. Language, Dutch is merged with Flemish region, you can spell French and German speaking. Jeez. Governments. It's crazy. All right. That actually might be a good place to end for the day. So let's go ahead and stop playing so I can get some screenshots. But we have door lock interactions working properly, and it shouldn't be too hard for us to add that sort of interaction to, say, a chest if it's necessary. Um, although we are going to have to figure out a system for if the lock should be active during Sierra mode or normal mode or both, because you have cases like the chest in the castle, which are the chest is only locked in Sierra mode, as is the door to the bedroom in the castle. Both of those are only locked in Sierra mode, so we need to have a difficulty setting check, maybe question mark, to see if to basically see if the lock is needed to be activated, and if it's not, then we get into some complex areas because I need to basically tell our door here that this sub interaction for the lock is only active in certain situations. So that's fun. I'm actually going to make a note of that. So we're going to go to door, and actually I guess we'll put this on our lock. So we're going to say need to, we'll do a to do, difficulty specific enable activation, I guess. We're also going to go up here to door in our interactions. So interaction list, to do, no, not summary. To do, need to allow certain, well, not certain interactions to be difficulty specific. Okay, let's go ahead and let that compile. And I don't think it's going to actually be that complicated to solve. We'll essentially just expand on our interactions menu here a little bit. So we'll have a field for the actual interaction, and then probably just a difficulty drop-down, either normal, Sierra, or both. And then we won't have to worry about it. And then we'll just have it, when it's populating its list of interactions, say, should this interaction be included. It's not going to be too crazy difficult, I don't think. So, hold on. I thought there was also something else that I'm forgetting here. Complex interactions, peak definition. List main only. There we go. That's what I'm forgetting. List main only is equal to true. Does that mean that I just don't have that set up? That might be the case. I'm going to do a quick little debug here. List main only. Okay. Interesting, and it still didn't work. Huh. We're gonna actually, you know what, before we end for the night, I'm gonna fix this bug, assuming that it shows up right here. So it should not let us know about the lock. Okay. Why did it show us that one time? Well, all right. Never mind then. It totally popped up once, but that might have been a bug that I fixed. Might have been because of a null reference or something. Oh, that's probably what it was. I bet it was the null reference from that one time. Okay, never mind. So that's working as it should be. So one more thing. Door inspector. I need to make sure that that's actually visible. So let's go ahead and come up here. List main only. Serialized property. Paste this in. And we're going to do m underscore list main only. All right. Let's go ahead and duplicate this. Paste this in. List main only. List main only. And finally, draw door info. Here we are. Editor GUI layout dot property field. There we are. So now when we look at our door, we should have that little checkbox. Once it compiles, of course. Come on. There we go. So now we can actually toggle that. Minor issue, but one that needed to be done. So, cool. So that's a pretty good place to stop for the night. We will go ahead and get some screenshots. So while I'm doing this, announcements. We should be back on Thursday. We will be doing something else. We'll see what I get done tomorrow to decide what we're going to do on Thursday. I'm going to say open with key. Oh, you know what? Actually, hold on. We're going to say examine lock. Shite. You aren't being formatted. Examine door. This is odd. Give me a second. Okay, yeah, I just want to know why my lowercase isn't happening there. Interactive object. Oh, right, it's because I never actually did that. Output result is going to be down at the very bottom here. Go to definition. Go to definition. All right, so we're going to say default. Okay. We're going to say interactive object utility dot format output. So we're going to say output and then name. Okay, so we're going to take this, come up here. We're just going to paste you in. So now it should actually format all of that information. Lots of minor fixes today. I'm actually kind of surprised. There was more than a few persistence issues with my doors that I just never caught, apparently. Most likely because the demo doesn't really have a lot of this functionality, so it just kind of slipped by me a lot. I tend to test in bits and pieces, and I've not really done a full playthrough test of the game so far, which I really should do. It's kind of important to make sure that everything actually persists. But we'll probably see a lot more of that moving forward. So take open with key. Oh wait, no, before we do that, examine lock. There we go. So now you can see that it uses the lock's name. Cool. So I'm going to go ahead and take some screenshots. Examine lock. Examine door. Unlock lock. Key. Oh, actually, no. Let's go ahead and clear. So we're going to say, oh, that's interesting. Wait, what? Okay. That's interesting. So it works if I hit E, like it comes up as expected, but if I hit enter or I'm guessing clicking, so clicking and E work. Huh. That's interesting. Okay, I'll have to make a note of that. So we're just going to do examine door, examine lock, unlock lock with key, open door. Cool. So I'm going to take a screenshot of that to show that we have different interactions with locks and doors. Although I actually kind of borked that, didn't I? I guess real quick. Go ahead and go to my screenshots. Screenshots. Show and Explorer. Otherwise, Unity's going to import them, which is going to be annoying because they're 4K textures. I really don't know why I keep 4K textures. Probably because I just want the resolution to be amazing. Let's see, screenshots. Drag that off to the side. Cool. So let's try this again. So I'm going to try opening the door, then examining the lock, and then unlocking the door. Oh, no. So I'm going to open the door. That's going to be locked. So open door, unlock, lock with key, and then open door. So we're going to take a screenshot of that. Let's go ahead and drag all that over. And then we're going to unlock the door, or we're going to open the door with the key, then we're going to try to unlock the lock, and it will say that the lock is already unlocked. So that should all work. So open door with key, unlock, lock, and that's probably good enough. Cool. So that's a wonderful place to stop for the night. We actually ended on a decently high note. And yeah, so we'll be back on Thursday, regular streaming time, 7 p.m. Eastern time, and we'll get some more work done in the plains level. We might actually be able to move on to scarecrow burning. All right, so as always, I want to thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you all next time.